Remember guys, to show appreciation to the brave people who post these stories by upvoting their story that I have linked down below. This is a pretty short story that happened just today. In the last session, our party found a big chest full of gold in some kind of vault hidden in a cemetery. We took all the gold and put it in our bags. Soon after that, we had to fight some kind of skeleton lord. He was our first serious boss in this campaign. After killing the boss, which took about 2 to 3 hours, session ended and we had a 2-week break in our campaign. At that time, we all planned what we were going to do with so much gold. We planned to buy some armors and weapons to be more effective in the fight. But after 2 weeks, when we came back to this campaign, DM started by basically saying that as we killed the skeleton lord, we can feel our bags becoming much lighter. When we checked our bags, it turned out all the gold we found was gone. To be honest, I don't know how to feel about that. To be fair, there was a lot of gold, maybe even too much, but giving people a ton of money, 2 weeks to plan what we were going to do with it, to just take it away, in my opinion, is a dick move. You know, as a DM, I always try to figure out the right amount of costs and rewards to give players. It's a delicate balance because you don't want to give your players enough money to just burn it like you can in Yakuza 0, but you want to give them enough so they can supply themselves. A good economy is necessary for any game, especially in D&D. However, just taking the gold away like that is really a bit too much in my opinion. There are other ways to get money from your players that aren't dickish as that. Having tolls, offering services to your players that they may need, and maybe even having a thief take their gold and give them a chance to get it back. Anything is better than just making it go poof. But in comparison to the next story, oh boy, that's nothing. I'm Sweeps, and let's begin.
It's so dark down here. I can't see a thing.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
Sorry.
So long story short, the group was in this medium-sized town in the desert and was tasked with discovering why all the water sources had become tainted.
Turns out someone tapped the tainted water supply.
Now, from the moment we stepped into town, everyone and their grandma kept dropping hints about this weird, evil underground cult that ceremonially blinds themselves to see the truth of reality. And they were probably behind it, since they had caused problems in the past. With no matter how much research did, or who we talked to, we couldn't find any other possible culprit. Anyway, events transpire and the cult eventually manages to kidnap the town's mayor to sacrifice to their god or something, and we, the party and the mayor's mercenary bodyguard, who was very upfront about how he was only in it for the money, remember this, go after them, and manage to track them to their hideout in some ruins in the desert. Only problem? We can't find the entrance. We search the ruins from top to bottom, but we just can't find anything that even resembles an entrance. Our only clues are 2 sentences that we have encountered multiple times during our investigation. Blind faith will prevail, and the blind will lead the way. Okay, easy. The entrance is probably hidden by magical means, and you can't find it with your eyes, right? Nope. What if we don blindfolds, so we really can't see anything, and search the ruins? Nope, that doesn't work either. This whole time, the GM is laughing his ass off, going, "Oh my god, you guys really don't get it? It's so obvious." He is actually laughing so hard that he is crying. At this point, we were all kind of pissed off, so we decided to head back to town, hire some laborers, and come back with shovels and picks just to excavate the area until we find it. The GM, hearing this, decides to be nice and throw us a bone, and have the bodyguards ask us for clues. Upon hearing them, he goes, "Ah, yes, of course!" Takes off his helmet, hands it to one of us, and then, calmly without hesitation, gouges out his own eyeballs in front of us.
Okay, Jesus Christ, I don't know what's going on.
We are just sitting there, in horrified silence, as the GM acts it out as the bodyguard is screaming like a madman, and then, once he is done, goes, "Ah, yes! Now I can see!" and leads us behind a rock we have searched behind a dozen times, and voila! There's the entrance. Not hidden or anything, just a big old hole in the ground. I think we all sat there for a solid 30 seconds just staring in disbelief at the GM, who was grinning like an asshole, before we just went, "What the fuck?" We asked him if this was a joke, if there was something we had missed that we could do instead of gouging out our eyeballs, but nope, he was adamant. The solution to the puzzle was, all along, for one of us to just carve out our eyes in order for us to find the entrance. Do note, in the system we played, it is not easy to replace lost body parts, and the replacement parts usually come with penalties unless you're willing to spend quite a bit of money on them. Hell, he was actually kind of pissed off at me because he assumed that, just because I was playing a priest at the time, that I would willingly gouge out my own eyeballs just on the off chance that it was the answer. I tried to explain to him normal people just don't gouge out their eyeballs like that, but he brushed me off as a bad role player.
I really wish I weren't here right now.
Man, that is a lot of leaping of logic. How do you do that? Wanna know the best part? Oh, please tell me. The entire thing with the cult, it was a red herring. Despite all the clues the GM threw at us whenever possible, they had absolutely nothing to do with the local water supply being tainted, so if any of us had blinded themselves, it would have been for nothing. So that's the story of when I realized my GM was probably a sociopath. Something that, sadly enough, would turn out to be the case, but that's a story for another time. Oh, I'll have to keep an eye on this guy right here. That is just wow. There's a difference between being vague and then just pulling a WTF moment. Sometimes when your players don't get the clue, that's when you do throw them a bone, i.e. you have something like an NPC giving them a clue, not pop their eyeballs out of their sockets. How would they even come to that conclusion? Not to mention, you shouldn't expect your players to mutilate themselves for what is essentially a false lead. Unless the condition is only temporary, you shouldn't cripple your PCs or make them have physical changes unless it's something that is agreed upon between the DM and the player itself. The only exception is if the player does something stupid and massively fails a roll, if you ask me. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to give it a like and subscribe, it helps the channel. I'm Sweeps, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the links in the description or pinned comment. I have the original stories there. Be sure to give them a thumbs up on my accord. Bye bye!
Which means we're going to need money! And lots of it!